Hi guys, welcome to Shoelace in SummerLand, the place where stray thoughts find a knot and wander into wonder. Here, we tie together everyday sparks with wild imagination and ask, what if the world worked just a little differently? So lace up, lean in, and let's explore another idea.
So today we're looking at this. Well, it's a business plan for a thing called CivicCam. And it's not your typical city-run surveillance.
Not at all. This is quite different.
This is about regular people, citizens, putting up cameras.
Yeah, feeding into this national AI system, a sort of crowdsourced safety net.
A totally different angle on public safety, a real shift.
Exactly. And I think that's the core idea, exploring a potentially new model, instead of just relying on the traditional government infrastructure.
So our mission today is to really get into this business plan, understand what CivicCam is actually proposing.
What the potential upsides might be.
Right, and what specific problems they think this whole citizen-powered network can solve.
Let's do it. The plan kicks off by outlining the issues with current surveillance setups.
Yeah, I saw that. Things like cost, which is obviously huge for cities.
Huge cost, yeah. And limited coverage, too. You just can't put government cameras everywhere.
And then there's the problem of actually watching all that footage, the burden on police.
That's a major bottleneck the document points out. I mean, think about the sheer amount of video coming in, even from a mid-sized city.
Just hours and hours.
Exactly. Trying to review that manually, it's incredibly labor-intensive. Things get missed. There are delays.
So gaps in coverage, gaps in response time, potentially.
That's the inefficiency they're targeting.
And CivicCam's answer is this network, built from cameras owned by, well, you and me, regular citizens.
That's the core pitch. Tapping into the cameras people are maybe already using for their homes or businesses.
Weaving them together.
Weaving them into a coordinated system, yeah. But the real power, according to the plan, isn't just the cameras themselves. It's the AI.
Right, the artificial intelligence analyzing all that footage automatically.
In near real time.
So it's not just about having more eyes on the street, it's about having smart eyes. What's the AI actually looking for?
Well, the plan lists quite a range. It starts with traffic stuff, speeding, running lights, things like that.
Okay, basic violations.
But it goes further. It talks about detecting potential criminal acts, like spotting a theft, maybe an assault happening. And even, interestingly, using the AI to help track suspects if needed.
Okay, now we're getting into some really advanced capabilities.
Yeah.
Let's break down how it actually functions. What are the pieces of this CivicCam puzzle?
Sure. The business plan lays out a few key components. First up, there's what they call the CivicCam Partner Program.
That's for the citizens, right? The camera owner.
Exactly. That's how you sign up, register your camera, assuming it's compatible, of course.
Compatible.
Then the video feed from those cameras gets sent to their cloud storage and AI engine.
So a central brain, basically, in the cloud.
Pretty much, yeah. The central hub where all the heavy lifting, the analysis happens.
And that AI engine is what's flagging those violations or crimes we were talking about.
That's the idea, the violation and crime detection feature. It uses algorithms to try and recognize specific events or patterns.
What kind of examples do they give?
Well, speeding vehicles, like we said, but also things like theft, maybe even physical fights or altercations.
And it goes beyond just detecting events.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
They mentioned facial and object recognition. The idea there is it could possibly help locate known offenders, maybe find missing persons. That's obviously a more sensitive area.
Definitely raises some questions there. But, okay, so the AI flags something. How do the police actually get that information?
Through a secure government dashboard. That's the interface for law enforcement.
Giving them real-time access.
Real-time access to the alerts, the analyzed footage. Imagine a police department having this wider view, almost instantly, across potentially hundreds or thousands of citizen cameras.
That could really change their situational awareness.
That's the proposed benefit, yeah, a much broader, faster picture.
But what's in it for the people putting up the cameras? Why would I share my camera feed?
Good question. That's where the partner rewards come in.
Ah, so there's an incentive.
Yeah.
Money.
The plan suggests either monthly payments or maybe service credits, something to encourage people to join, keep their cameras online, and make sure the footage is actually useful.
So it's not just altruism, there's a tangible benefit for participating citizens.
That seems to be the model.
Okay, technology citizens. Let's talk business. How does CivicCam make money? What's the model here?
Primarily, it's what they call a B2G model, business to government.
Selling to police departments, cities?
Exactly. Selling subscriptions or licenses for access to the platform, the dashboard, the AI analysis, That's the main revenue stream outlined.
Makes sense. Governments pay for the service, and the citizens providing the data get rewards.
Right. They frame the citizen side as freemium plus rewards. It's free to join the network.
But you get paid based on participation or useful footage.
Something like that, yeah. How active and relevant your camera feed is.
Any other revenue ideas?
There's a mention of possibly licensing anonymized data.
Anonymized for what?
Things like urban planning, maybe traffic flow analysis, using the aggregated non-personal data to understand city dynamics better. But they list that as optional.
Interesting. So potential uses beyond just crime fighting. Who are they pitching this to initially? What kind of places?
The plan targets urban areas first, especially cities dealing with, higher crime rates or traffic problems.
Makes sense. Go where the need is perceived to be greatest.
Right. Also, places looking into smart city projects and potentially state police forces who need wider geographical coverage.
And who are they up against? Do they mention competitors?
They do. They name companies like Hikvision.
Big hardware player.
Yeah, mostly hardware focused.
Maybe.
And also Flock Safety, which does vehicle tracking.
Okay.
But CivicCam argues their big difference is the citizen network. That distributed, potentially massive scale is their unique angle compared to just selling cameras or specific tracking tech.
And they think the market's big enough.
They estimate the total addressable market at over $10 billion globally. Public safety tech is a big space.
Wow, okay. 10 billion. So how do they plan to actually get this off the ground? What's the rollout plan?
It's a phased approach. The go-to-market strategy starts with a pilot city.
Find one city willing to try it out.
Exactly. Ideally, one facing the kinds of issues CivicCam claims to address: crime, traffic. Then, partner up locally.
With who?
Community groups, like neighborhood watches, maybe business associations, even folks like taxi or rideshare drivers who are already mobile. Offer incentives to be early adopters.
Build momentum from the ground up.
Get those cameras installed, generate some data, hopefully show some success stories.
And then use those results to convince other cities.
That's the plan. Use the pilot as a case study to expand city by city.
It does sound like they're trying to build a bit of a movement around it. Okay, let's get slightly more technical. What kind of cameras are we talking about? Do people need special CivicCam hardware?
Apparently not. The plan says they aim to use standard IP cameras, the kind many people might already have.
As long as they use common protocols, you mentioned.
All right, things like RTS key or ONVIF. These are just standard ways for cameras and systems to talk to each other.
So potentially lower barrier to entry for citizens? They don't need to buy a whole new system.
That seems to be the goal, yeah. Leverage existing infrastructure where possible. Then, for the back end, storing all that video, processing it.
Cloud platforms, AWS, Azure.
Yep, the usual suspects. Scalable cloud infrastructure is key for handling that volume of data.
And the AI itself, is it off the shelf or custom?
The plan emphasizes custom AI machine learning algorithms, developed specifically for this.
For doing what exactly?
Object detection, so identifying cars, people, etc. Facial recognition, which we mentioned.
The controversial part.
Potentially, yes. And behavior analysis, trying to spot unusual or suspicious activity patterns.
And security, with all this video data flying around.
The stress security is critical, mentioning end-to-end encryption for the data streams and aiming for compliance with privacy rules like GDPR.
That will be crucial for trust, I imagine. Let's loop back to money quickly. Is this projected to be profitable?
Well, the revenue, as we said, comes mainly from government subscriptions. The big costs are cloud hosting, ongoing AI development, those partner rewards.
Sales, operations.
Right. Standard business costs. They project hitting break even around year 3.
Assuming
they sign up 10 or more cities by then.
That feels ambitious, but it's a clear goal. 10 cities in 3 years. What about the really long view? Where does CivicCam see itself ultimately?
The future vision section paints a pretty big picture, a nationwide grid of these citizen cameras.
Wow, coast to coast.
That seems to be the aspiration. Plus deeper integration with smart city systems, feeding data into emergency response.
And you mentioned predictive policing earlier.
Yeah, they touch on the potential for using the data analysis to try and predict where crime might happen, which is, as you said, a very complex and often controversial area.
Definitely. Which brings us neatly to the challenges. They must acknowledge the hurdles, right? Privacy has to be number one.
Absolutely. The plan explicitly addresses privacy concerns. They talk about mitigations like opt-in data sharing, user controls, and anonymization techniques.
But is that enough to satisfy everyone? That's the big question.
It likely wouldn't satisfy everyone, no. It's a fundamental tension.
What about just the practical side? Relying on thousands of home cameras, what if they break or go offline? Hardware reliability.
Another valid concern they raise. Their proposed fix is setting quality standards for partner cameras. Minimum specs, maybe performance checks.
Trying to ensure a baseline level of quality across the network.
Right, to avoid having too many unreliable feeds.
And the last big one, getting governments, police departments to actually sign up for this radical new thing, government buy-in.
Yeah, that's likely a major sales challenge. Their strategy seems to be starting with those low-cost or maybe even free pilot programs.
Prove it works first, show the value.
Let the results in one city convince the next city. Seeing is believing, essentially.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive on this CivicCam plan, it's definitely a thought-provoking concept.
It really is.
A novel approach to public safety, leveraging citizens, their cameras, and AI analysis in a way we haven't really seen proposed at this scale before.
Exactly. The potential benefits they're highlighting, better coverage, maybe easing the burden on law enforcement, that community involvement aspect.
They're compelling arguments.
They are. But, as we've discussed, there are some significant counterpoints and challenges.
Huge questions around privacy, obviously, data security, the reliability of a network you don't fully own.
And just the fundamental question of whether citizens should be playing this kind of role in mass surveillance, even if it's opt-in.
And getting government agencies comfortable with relying on it.
All major hurdles. It really forces us to think about the trade-offs between safety and privacy in an age where this kind of tech is becoming, well, almost commonplace.
Which leads to a final thought for you, our listeners. As personal surveillance tech, doorbell cams, dash cams, security systems gets cheaper and more widespread,
It's everywhere.
how might initiatives driven by citizens themselves, like this proposed CivicCam model, start to reshape our whole understanding of public safety and maybe redraw the lines around individual privacy in the future?
It's definitely something worth pondering. A complex future unfolding.
Indeed. Plenty to think about there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for wandering through another idea with me here in Shoelace in SummerLand. If you loved this little thought trail, give it a like, share it with your fellow wanderers, and don't forget to subscribe for creative ideas. See you in the next video with a brand new idea. Bye-bye.